we're talking on nanotechnology based face masks as an effective weapon to combat virus based pandemics. As we know, the whole world is nowadays combating with the highly infectious COVID 19 virus since 2019 December. So, at present, there are 178.2 million total cases in the whole world, which includes 3.8 million deaths, and number itself are enough to know the size of the enemy. If I talk about the virus, it is caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, which is called as SARS-CoV-2, which belongs to a beta coronavirus genus, contains a positive sense single-stranded RNA surrounded by phosphorylated caspid protein. And the RNA and caspid itself make a nucleocaspid, which is coated with spike glycoprotein. And the size of coronavirus is of interesting thing. You can say the size of a conventional red blood cell is of 7 micrometer. However, the size of coronavirus lies between 90 to 150 nanometer, as we have analyzed it from different sources. So the size itself belongs to the nano regime in the nanoscale. So nanotechnology comes into play to address the various challenges, the structure, growth, and the interaction of coronavirus with the other surfaces and the materials. So now, if I talk about how it is get transmitted, so there are various routes of transmission of SARS-CoV-2, which includes airborne, direct contact, indirect contact, and facial oral route. So if size of respiratory droplet is less than 5 micrometer, which has been produced through the cough, sneeze, or saliva of the infected person, so then the airborne infection lies up to 1 meter through aerosols. So if the size is more than 5 micrometer, then it can spread through air up to 1 meter. Or there can be indirect contact of the healthy person with infected surfaces, and the healthy person get infected from it. Though there are no special dedicated reports on facial oral transmission of SARS-CoV-2, but it cannot be neglected. So thus it is spread in a chain system from one individual to other, and then can lead to a dangerous community transmission. So thus to break the chain, the transmission, thus to stop the transmission, the breaking of chain is very important, as you can see on the screen. So if we are able to break the chain, we can combat the virus. So there are basic three challenges which are associated with the COVID-19, I would say, and can be categorized into prevention, diagnosis, and the treatment. On a spread of any particular disease or pandemic, it requires dedicated research or inadequate time for developed diagnosis and treatment techniques. However, prevention is the first step to combat any disease. So that is why it is called as prevention is always better than cure. So various preventive measures for COVID-19 includes vaccination, maintaining hygiene, using sanitizers and disinfectants, social distancing, as per WHO recommendation, it is 2 meter, and then wearing masks. And in adverse cases, the last available method is imposing lockdown. So there are various COVID-19 vaccines which in the world with different efficiencies. As you can see on my screen, there is Sinovac, which is developed in China, and the efficiency lies between 50% to 50.7%. Similarly, there are other vaccines, and in India, Bharat Biotech have developed Covaxin, and the efficiency has been claimed to 81%. So you can see no vaccine has uh, efficiency more than 95%. So the efficiency are less than 100%, and so everyone is not, I mean, protected. And after vaccination, there are cases of post vaccination infection after getting vaccinated. In India, after first dose, there is a proportion of positive cases of 0.02%. However, they are small, but they cannot be neglected because every life is equally important. Similar cases have been monitored in United States that after a Pfizer vaccine study, there is proportionality positivity rate of 0.48% after 2 doses. So vaccine serves as. However, if I see the population of world is too large, and the number of countries or the companies who are producing vaccines are very small, so this will take huge time so that every person would get vaccinated. If I see the current rate of vaccination of first dose only, then in the various countries, as you can see, the Canada is have vaccinated 62.7% of their people from by first vaccination. In India, it is 13.7% who are get who have get vaccinated from the first dose. So it requires large production, mass production, and mass production is again the limiting factor in case of vaccines. However, the conventional method to research on vaccine takes 10 to 15 years if we go through the chronological system. But however, for the emergency cases, the approval of vaccines have been given by various countries and WHO, though we are not aware about the long-term side effects of these vaccines as well. So side effects are still unknown, and we are not sure how much we are getting benefited by using these vaccines in emergency cases. Another challenge with vaccines faces is mutation, variants, and strains. There are various reports which has been accepted by WHO as well, that the virus is getting mutated according to the geographical conditions and environmental conditions as well. So there are more than 4,000 spike proteins alone have been reported in coronavirus. So this mutating new strains of virus, new variants of this virus has been challenging these vaccines again and again, has been challenging the efficiency related to these vaccines again and again. So this is also a limiting factor. In case of other preventive measures such as use of sanitizers, use of disinfectant, these are short-term protection, one-time protection. I mean, if you get in contact again with any infected surface, you will again get you will again have to use these preventive measures. And the last, which is the most strict preventive measure, is lockdown, though it has positive effect on decline of various environmental contaminants, which has been reported by various reports, but it also possesses certain negative effects, which includes the economy has been adversely affected by the lockdown. Then the mental health of the people which are facing lockdown, which are getting locked down in confined places, is also getting affected, and there is reduction in waste recycling as well. So there are very various negative effects which are related to the lockdown, and there are various demerits and shortcomings which are related to the various preventive measures, which has been potentially used for combating the coronavirus. However, the most cost effective, most available, most easy to use, and which can be produced over large scale is use a face mask. So using a face mask have various advantages, such as it protects a person from getting infected because it covers up your nose and mouth, and the respirate it blocks the respiratory droplets which are potential carrier of coronavirus. Again, it also protects the virus or infection to get transmitted, since if a infected person wear a mask, it will stop the spread of the droplets. Also, it gives you a sense of feeling to contribute to stopping the spread of virus. It also remind the people to be compliment with the health hygiene, not touching your nose and mouth again and again. And it is very essential for the frontline health workers which have been working to protect the people who are infected from the COVID-19. So there are various advantages of face masks which has been highlighted. Now this face mask is of has been divided into three categories, though there are four categories of face masks. The first category is single use face masks, who have having 95% efficiency from the particles of size 3 micron. Then there are surgical masks who have varying efficiency from 95 to 98%, which can protect you from particles ranging from 3 micron to zero point 0.1 micron. And the final is respiratory masks, which are properly known as N95 and FFP masks, which can provide protection from zero point 0.3 micron particles till 99%. So the efficiency of controlling virus sized particles or droplets from the infected person is very high in case of mask as compared to the other preventive measures. So these masks can be used with other preventive measures such as vaccination and the social distancing, which can I mean increase and ample the efficiency of those preventive measures, yeah, preventive measures. So however, these conventional face masks, these are suffering from different advantages. So it gives you various feelings such as claustrophobic. Some persons are claustrophobic, so wearing mask is very difficult to them. Then after using, if a corona patient is using a mask, it get fomite, so it can act as a secondary source of infection. It can also lead to the production of huge amount of waste because they are single use or multiple use. So using mask on large scale is producing waste on large scale. So they are very tight over the face, which can cause pain over your facial nerves. uh, it can also cause breathing issues because prolonged use of mask can make accumulate of CO2 in the mask area, and then it can cause you breathing and respiratory problems. And most importantly, those who are suffering from speech and hearing disabilities, uh, this will be a very difficult for them for communicate after wearing such masks. And these masks also gives some health issues as well, since it has been reported that the prolonged use of mask can cause hypercapnia or hypersomnia, which is due to the accumulation of carbon dioxide in the bloodstream, which can lead to the shortness of breath, chest discomfort, block your facial duct, and which can cause acne problems and other skin infections. And then the pressure on the canicle and the vesical nerves can lead to the soreness, physical soreness. So these problems can be have to be addressed, and this can be addressed by the inclusion of the nanotechnology based masks, so face masks. So before getting into the nano mask, we have to understand what does this nano means. So what is the nano scale? If I take a golf club, it's a typical size of 1 meter. If I divide it into 100 part, then there will be a typical part of size of battery as on in which will be 1 centimeter. So when we keep dividing it by the factor of 10 or 100, so 10 raised to the power, when we reach that value of 10 raised to the power minus 9 meter, then this is called as a nanometer. So that is the nano scale which we are talking about. The virus is so tiny in the dimensions. So uh, what is a nanomaterial? As I have defined nanomask is a mask which include nanomaterials. So what do we mean by nanomaterials? Any material which is having one of its dimension in nanometer as in 10 raised to the minus 9 meter, then it will be called as nanometer. And there will be a change in properties such as surface property and chemical properties of that system. So there can be different type of nanomaterials, 3D materials, 2D materials, 1D materials, and zero dimensional materials. So it depends upon how we are confining the material. So if I have a three-dimensional material, it is called as bulk material. However, if I confine one dimension of the three-dimensional material, it will convert into two-dimensional material such as thin films. So it will be your 2D confinement. Then if you confine further, and if you confine all the three direction, you will get a quantum dot. So what is the use of these confinement of these dimension? So it leads to the surface effects. So if we want to understand the surface effect, see if there is a cube of I mean 1 meter each sides, then the area will be 6 meters square. However, if I divide it into further part, the surface area increases, which means the surface to volume ratio increases. So all the reactions in the nature are basically surface to surface reactions. So if I increase the surface to volume ratio, which means I am increasing the surface area for the chemical reaction, for any reaction, and then the reaction will be enhanced, which means the chemical properties will be enhanced. So using this technology into the mass technology, textile technology, can lead to the formation of nanomass and can address the various issues which we have discussed in the previous slides related to the nanomass. So when we include nanomaterial, when we use nanomaterial uh, to form a textile for a mask production, then that mask which is having a nanomaterial in it is called as nanomask. So various characteristics which are associated with the nanomask, which addresses the problems of the conventional mask, are high filtering capacity. So high filtering capacity is due to the high porosity and high effective surface area of the nanomaterials, which has been included in the fabrication of nanomask. So uh, uh, as we know very well that in nanomaterials, the surface to volume ratio is very large, which means the effective surface area for the reactions is very large, and the porosity is very high. So in the inclusion of nanomaterial which are having high porosity and high effective surface area can lead to high breathability rate and high filtering capacity, also high air permeability. So the second characteristic, the main characteristic is its antimicrobial, antiviral, or I would say anti-pathogen activity. So there are certain nanomaterials based on the carbon nanomaterials or organic nanomaterials such as curcumin and inorganic materials, which shows these antiviral properties. So when the virus comes into the contact of the surface of these materials inhibits the replication of the virus, or it destroy the virus using photo or electro oxidation reactions. So this lead to the antiviral properties of uh, these nanomasks. So the use of antiviral nanomaterials in the mask production is itself very important to avoid the transmission of infection through the antiviral action of the nanomask. Then one or most important property is self-cleaning. So as I have said that when the virus come into the contact with certain nanomaterials such as TiO2, titanium oxide. So what happens? The titanium oxide captures humidity when you wear a mask. So the surface around is bit humid. So these TiO2 kind of nanomaterials, they capture the humidity from the atmosphere or from your breath. And when they are exposed to light, so when they are exposed to light, the oxygen nearby the surface of the mask get changed into the oxygen radicals, which kills or inhibits the virus. Similarly, the materials like magnetite Fe3O4. So when we rub these materials, there is a formation of static charges. So these charges kill or inhibits the virus. So there can be electrocatalytic or photocatalytic reaction in the nanomaterials, which can be used in formation, making fabrication of nanomasks. which so they self clean themselves. So if there is a accumulation of virus over the surface of the mask, then by the photocatalytic or electrocatalytic action, the mask will self clean itself. So what is the what are the advantages of this self cleaning? That these masks can be reused. If they can be reused, there will be a less production of waste as compared to the conventional mask. Again, as I have said, if a patient which is having COVID-19 or any other viral infection, and if, the person is using the mask become fomite, and it can act as a secondary source of infection. So if the mask is having self-cleaning property, it will kill the virus present on the surface of the mask, and then it will not act as a secondary source, so it can be easily disposed of. So it reduces the load of disposing of the mask, as well it self cleans itself, which makes it reusable. Another property is they are aerosol phobic. Aerosol phobic, as in when the aerosol which is having PM 2.5, particulate matter 10, and other contaminants which can be a potential carrier of COVID-19, as has been recently reported. So these masks are aerosol phobic and hydrophobic. So they doesn't let aerosol or water to accumulate on themselves. They repel these aerosols and water molecules or humidity, I would say. So, for example, silicon oxide is one of the examples. And then they are eco-friendly and user-friendly. I would say environmental friendly, because they can be made using livestock, using organic material. So they are easily biodegradable. So there is no dispose of condition which has been there in conventional nanomask. And one more important property is transparency. So as I have said, that the people who are having disabilities like hearing disability will be not able to communicate, and it will be very difficult to communicate for them if your face is covered. So if we can develop transparent mask using nanomaterials, because in nanomaterials we can tune the band gap of the material. So when we go to the nano regime, some of the band gap turns into the range in the transparency. So the material becomes transparent. So using nanomaterials, we can form transparent nanomaterials. And we can include them in formation of nanomask. So fabrication of nanomask and use of nanomask uh, is a very potential preventive measure, because since, as we have discussed, the efficiency of mask lies between 95% to 99%, and then inclusion of the nanomaterials into these masks can ample the efficiency, as well as it reduces the problems such as health related problem, respiration related problem, skin related problem, cleaning related problem, dispose of related problem, or communication problem due to various disabilities. So we can tackle these all adverse convention shortcomings of conventional masks by use of nanomasks. So nanomasks are the potential preventive measure which are cost effective, which can be produced over large scale, and which can be made available to every individual in the world, because vaccination and other preventive measures take time. Vaccination requires a dedicated time for its development, as we have discussed. So the nanomask is the easiest and the most efficient preventive measure, which is easily available and cost effective, and which can lead to avert, which can combat the deadly coronavirus. So we have also, uh, I have also written few reviews over the use of nanotechnology to combat the COVID-19. One has been listed in Nature's emergency collection, health related collection. So we have reviewed all the papers which have been reported the various kinds of nanotechnology based products or preventive measures such as sanitizers and masks. So In 3D materials, there are copper nanomaterials or silver nanomaterials. Basically, copper and silver are the most anti-pathogen materials which destroy the pathogens when comes into the contact with these materials. So they basically they have been developed by various manufacturers and innovators. In India itself, IIT Gandhinagar have developed the 3D printed metal nanoparticle based mask. In metal nanoparticle, they have used both silver and copper nanoparticles, and it possesses antiviral and antimicrobial property. And since it has been fabricated in the nano range, so the breathing efficiency is very high. There are also report on 3D organic or metal oxide based nano mask fabrication. TiO2, as I have discussed, has been developed by MVX Prime Limited as a self-cleaning antiviral properties with efficiency to kill 99.9% of the trapped pathogen. So again, curcumin, which is called as haldi in India. So curcumin modified silver nanoparticles have also been developed by Chang Zhai and Huang colleagues, which has used to inhibit the entry of respiratory virus by having significant and effective cell levels. Similarly, 2D materials such as the most recent material, which is Emzine, which has been used by Gossi et al. For showing the antibacterial property of Emzine. So Emzine can also be used as a potential material for fabricating the nanomask. Further, in one-dimensional material, there are nano-coco-carbon nanomask, which has been derived from the coconut shell itself. So it's an organic metal which can be decomposed. So there will be a biodegradable nanomask, which has been developed by Meta Mask and the colleagues. So, and then there are nanocomposite itself. Nanocomposite, which means mixing two or more parent materials into each other and getting the merits of both the parents. Like, like I have a organic nanomaterial and then I have an inorganic nanomaterial. The organic nanomaterial is a biodegradable material. That inorganic nanomaterial is possessing self-cleaning property. If I mix the two in a nanocomposite, then the produced material will be biodegradable, your semi-biodegradable. So there are possibilities to include the merit of both the materials into a same material, which is that these kind of materials are called as nanocomposite. One of the parent lies in nanoresin. So there are various nanocomposites such as copper oxide with organic nanofiber based mass has been reported by Replicon Group, Czech Republic, which is having 99.9% filtering capacity, which is having 3 layers of copper oxide, and the copper oxide has been suspended by the organic nanofibers such as polymer nanofibers. So I would like to thank the organizers to invite me for this talk. Uh, Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you for your valuable information. It's quite informative. Now the session is open for questions.